The dancing plague of 1518 remains one of the most puzzling and unsettling episodes in European history, blending elements of medicine, psychology, religion, and social crisis. Taking place in the city of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, the outbreak began in July 1518 and quickly escalated into a phenomenon that left authorities and observers both alarmed and confused. The incident is generally said to have started with a woman known as Frau Troffea. According to contemporary accounts, she stepped into the street and began to dance fervently and uncontrollably. There was no music, no celebration, and no apparent reason for her behavior. Yet she continued for hours, then days, seemingly unable to stop. Within a week, dozens of others had joined her. By the end of the month, reports suggest that the number of afflicted individuals had risen to around 400. What made the event particularly disturbing was that the dancing appeared involuntary. Participants did not seem to be enjoying themselves. Rather, they were visibly distressed, exhausted, and often in pain. Some reportedly begged for help but could not stop moving. Witnesses described people collapsing from fatigue, only to rise again and resume dancing. In extreme cases, individuals are said to have died from heart attacks, strokes, or sheer physical exhaustion, though the exact number of deaths remains uncertain due to inconsistent historical records. To understand why this happened, it is essential to consider the broader context of life in early 16th century Strasbourg. The region had recently experienced a series of hardships, including crop failures, famine, and outbreaks of disease such as smallpox and syphilis. Economic instability and hunger were widespread, and the general population lived under significant psychological and physical stress. In such conditions, collective behavior could be heavily influenced by fear, religious belief, and social tension. Religion played a central role in how people interpreted the dancing plague. Many residents believed the affliction to be a form of divine punishment or supernatural curse. One commonly cited explanation at the time involved Saint Vitus, a Christian saint associated with nervous disorders and epilepsy. There was a widespread belief that Saint Vitus could curse individuals, causing them to dance uncontrollably. This belief was not unique to Strasbourg. Similar ideas had circulated in parts of Europe for centuries, often linked to earlier outbreaks of so-called dancing manias. The response of the city authorities was shaped by contemporary medical theories, which differed significantly from modern understandings of disease. Physicians at the time largely rejected supernatural explanations and instead attributed the condition to an imbalance of bodily humors, particularly an excess of hot blood. Based on this reasoning, they concluded that the afflicted needed to rid themselves of the excess through continuous movement. In other words, the cure for dancing was more dancing. As a result, officials took the extraordinary step of facilitating the outbreak rather than suppressing it. They cleared public spaces, set up stages, and even hired musicians and dancers to accompany the afflicted. The idea was that by allowing and even encouraging the dancers to continue, they would eventually exhaust the illness from their bodies. Unsurprisingly, this approach had the opposite effect. The presence of music and organized spaces likely encouraged more people to join in, and the number of dancers increased. As the situation worsened, authorities began to reconsider their strategy. The mounting number of cases, along with reports of deaths, forced a shift in approach. The city eventually banned public dancing and music, recognizing that their earlier response had exacerbated the problem. Instead, they turned to religious remedies. The afflicted were taken to shrines, particularly those dedicated to Saint Vitus, where they underwent rituals intended to lift the supposed curse. These rituals sometimes included the wearing of special red shoes, the offering of prayers, and participation in religious ceremonies. Gradually, the outbreak began to subside. By September 1518, the dancing had largely ceased, though the exact reasons for its decline remain unclear. No single explanation fully accounts for both the onset and the resolution of the phenomenon, which is why it continues to fascinate historians and scientists alike. Modern interpretations of the dancing plague of 1518 generally fall into two main categories: physiological and psychological. One of the earliest scientific theories proposed that the dancers had been poisoned by ergot, a toxic fungus that can grow on rye and other grains. Ergot contains compounds chemically related to LSD and can cause hallucinations, convulsions, and other neurological symptoms. However, many scholars now consider this explanation unlikely. Ergot poisoning typically causes symptoms that would make prolonged, coordinated dancing nearly impossible, such as severe muscle spasms and intense pain. A more widely accepted explanation is that the dancing plague was a case of mass psychogenic illness, also known as mass hysteria. In this view, the outbreak was driven by extreme stress, fear, and social pressure, which manifested in physical symptoms. In a society already primed to believe in supernatural punishment and collective affliction, it is plausible that one person's behavior could trigger a chain reaction. The sight of others dancing uncontrollably, combined with existing anxieties and cultural beliefs, may have led more individuals to unconsciously adopt the same behavior. This theory is supported by the fact that similar outbreaks occurred in Europe during the medieval and early modern periods. These events, sometimes referred to as dancing manias, were often linked to times of crisis and shared certain characteristics, such as group participation, apparent lack of control, and eventual spontaneous resolution. The Strasbourg outbreak, however, remains one of the most well-documented and extreme examples. The dancing plague of 1518 also offers insight into how societies interpret and respond to unexplained phenomena. The authorities' initial decision to encourage dancing illustrates how medical theories can shape public policy, even when those theories are flawed. At the same time, the eventual turn toward religious solutions reflects the enduring influence of belief systems in times of uncertainty. Today, the event is often cited in discussions of the mind-body connection and the power of collective behavior. While modern medicine provides tools to better understand such phenomena, the dancing plague serves as a reminder that human responses to stress and fear can take unexpected and sometimes extreme forms. It also highlights the importance of cultural context in shaping how symptoms are expressed and understood. Ultimately, the dancing plague of 1518 remains an enduring mystery. Whether viewed as a medical anomaly, a psychological episode, or a cultural phenomenon, it continues to captivate those who encounter it. Its combination of strangeness, tragedy, and unresolved questions ensures that it holds a unique place in the study of history, standing as a vivid example of how little we sometimes understand about the forces that drive human behavior.